Hello and welcome to FIRSTtalk, where we simplify super. My name's Andy and today I'm joined by Jayson and Daniela, and we're all from the financial advice team. We're going to be talking about transition to retirement, or what's more commonly known as TTR. Jayson, can you give us an overview of what is a TTR strategy?
Yeah, so the first thing first with a TTR strategy, to be eligible, and not everyone's eligible, you have to meet your preservation age, and going forward that'll be 60 years old. So once you've reached that age, you're effectively able to create a TTR or a pension account and draw down a regular income using some of your funds that you've transferred from your existing super account into this pension account.
Okay, and how frequently can you draw down?
So it's quite flexible, it's up to you. So most people will take a fortnightly payment as that's the most frequent we can do, but some people will take it monthly, quarterly, even a yearly payment depending on their needs.
Okay, and sometimes when we're talking to the members they get a little bit confused about the investment options. Do they differ from the superannuation account?
No, so they're exactly a mirror. So within First Super again we've got the 5 investment options. With your transition to retirement account they're exactly the same, and that return will be the same as well. So the interest still will continue to accrue.
Okay, so in very simplistic terms, an overview of a TTR account is you move some of your superannuation into this pension account or TTR account, which allows you then to draw down an amount once you got to your preservation age. It's a key thing. But there's always rules, Daniela. What are some of the rules?
Just like with everything else, there are always rules. So again, first of all, you have to reach that preservation age, which is age 60. Once you are eligible, there is a minimum and a maximum that you can draw. So depending on the age, the minimum will change accordingly. It starts with 4% and it goes up as you grow older, but the maximum always stays at 10%. If you are, or part of the transition to retirement, if you do salary sacrificing, there is a limitation around that because you have to stick to that concessional contribution cap, which is $30,000, so you can't exceed that as well.
So, I mean, if you're interested in the salary sacrifice, there's a separate video on that, so by all means have a look at it. But to your point, Daniela, traditionally the TTR strategy is about making contributions in and drawing money out. And Jayson, you actually were speaking to a member around that very scenario. Can you just give us some more information on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I met with a member who just recently turned 60, so he just met his preservation age. His wife was a little bit younger, not working, and they still had a small mortgage, so they were a little bit strapped for cash, so they weren't able to make the salary sacrifice contributions. So what we did, we opened up a transition to retirement account with a couple $100,000. That gave him tax-free income because once he's 60, that income from the TTR is tax-free. So now he's created this extra income source. It allowed him to salary sacrifice right up to that cap that Daniela mentioned, and he was saving a fair bit of tax and looking to work over the next 5 years. That was really going to boost his super up and give him much better retirement, whether that's a longer income, whether it's maybe retiring a little bit earlier, or maybe doing a trip or something in retirement that he wouldn't have otherwise been able to do.
Fantastic. And Daniela, that's not the only way that you can use the TTR, in a traditional way as well. So you met with a member where they weren't thinking about putting extra contributions in, but they wanted to draw down. So can you just elaborate on that a bit more?
Yeah, definitely. So another quite common reason why our members are utilizing this transition to retirement is the moment when they're kind of considering reducing their hours and potentially transition to retirement, just like the name says. So in my case, I had a member, he was 62, his after-tax income was $50,000 a year, and he wanted to reduce his working days from 5 down to 3. Essentially, his income after tax would be now $30,000. So we needed to top him up with that additional $20,000 to bring him back to that original $50,000, which we were able to do through the transition to retirement because his balance was allowing us to do that.
Right, yeah, so I mean, that's perfect examples from both of you as in the traditional way that TTR strategy has been used. And to Daniela's point, it's all in the word about transition. So whether you're transitioning to super by boosting it before you retire, or you want to reduce your hours and you need to supplement your income. But the reality of the transition to retirement strategies is that it does allow you to get access to your super. So in my instance, I was talking to a member that actually had a debt. It was relatively small, but they wanted to get rid of it quickly. So we actually set up a TTR strategy. So in one financial year, we drew down the maximum amount, 10%, reduced that debt, and then in July, we pulled down the next 10%, and that paid out the debt completely. all of a sudden that member had this cash flow or additional cash flow from those repayments not longer being required, and they redirected it back into their superannuation. So yes, they were doing the salary sacrifice, but it also allowed them to do something called non-concessional contributions as well. So to your point, Jayson, they were really trying to boost their super before they retired over the next number of years. So that's the TTR strategy. Sounds simple. It can be simple to implement, but a lot of our members do come to the financial advice team to try and really work out how it is best for them to use it. So if you're interested, by all means, give us a call here at First Super, and someone from the financial advice team will be more than happy in which to sit down and talk to you about that further. So until next time, take care.